Yo, you watch Sailor Moon? Listen, I know people might think I'm a weeaboo, but that's not possible because I could never forget who I am. Anyway, when it comes to anime, there are a lot of things that I watched and got interested in anime a long time ago, much before it became very popular. Kind of like how Marvel has become very popular now because it's sort of mainstream in the movies and theaters. Anime to a certain degree has become also much more popular because of things like YouTube and other things where people can share their interests, and people now know a lot of people are really into anime, and there are a lot of great anime that unite us, and streaming is so much easier. I got into it way back when streaming itself wasn't even normal. The idea that people would stream content rather than downloading it and then watch it once it's downloaded was a kind of nonsense. Yeah, I come from that age where thinking of streaming, like streaming Netflix videos or streaming from YouTube even, or even things like eBaum's World, was just not really a kind of proper way to see a media for a long time. Like, you can only see maybe little small clips, not like you're gonna actually watch a full show or anything like that. Except there were certain websites that you would only really know about if you were actually into anime that did this with anime. And I'm talking about Sputnik 7 if you don't know about it. It was a website that allowed me to stream movies, anime movies, and watch it. So there was a time when I was into anime, but I didn't really watch series. I would just watch full-blown movies from Manga studios, and that's what streaming anime was way back then. Now, anime did show up on television as well sometimes, certain animation styles. Now, of course, I'm talking about even before Pokemon. Yeah, even great full-blown anime style anime stuff like, you know, Escaflowne. But if you go back long enough, you might know, back in the reaches of your memory, there was something there also for a lot of us called Sailor Moon. Now, a lot of us thought that Sailor Moon was obviously for girls because the main characters were women, and to a certain extent it's understandable that we might feel like that. But this was one of the first anime that I kind of got interested in because I was just generally interested in this art style. I was interested in anime before I knew this was a kind of anime thing, for whatever reason. I mean, pre-Digimon, pre-Pokemon, pre-whatever, this kind of thing was interesting to me, probably because of something like Ninja Scroll. Watching Ninja Scroll was hugely impactful for the type of thing that I thought was super cool. Samurais and stuff like that, and knowing manga, and definitely this was influential on me. But that wasn't just all of it. I was into Sailor Moon, actually. Yeah, I know it's kind of weird, and a lot of guys wouldn't be able to talk about it back then. And I say guys, but what I mean is kids. We were kids. We were just a bunch of kids. And definitely there was a certain level of toxic masculinity, you can say, which didn't allow young boys to be able to say something like, we enjoyed Sailor Moon. Of course, it wasn't a great show necessarily, but there were a lot of shows that weren't great, which we could still say we watched because it helped us pass the time. But it was harder to do that with female heroes. But I want to let you know, as I mentioned in other episodes of my show, that a lot of us guys still watch and definitely did pay attention to the female heroes that there were as well. I'm telling you, we still enjoyed Xena. Some of us, like me, still enjoyed watching She-Ra, and certainly in this case, we still enjoyed watching Sailor Moon. But there was something that Sailor Moon did to me that I just could not forgive, so I couldn't watch it really past season 1, or whatever that season thing was. Listen, Sailor Moon wasn't like a great show, but I can understand that it was important for a lot of young women to have a lot of different options to see and identify themselves, because you don't get a lot of that for a lot of young women. And I talk about this in another episode that I'm gonna do or show about the Spice Girls, or maybe I already did, about the Spice Girls. It's a similar point. But anyway, when it comes to the Sailor Scouts as a young guy, I kind of like Sailor Mars because, you know, she had the flames, and something about her just made me realize that she was supposed to be the hot one. Maybe it was her hair or her skirt or just something about her. I don't know how they did it, subtly, subconsciously, letting me know as a young boy, the hot one is Mars. Yeah, I definitely agreed with that. And Mercury was a cute one, whatever. But I know growing in life, if these were any sort of partners for me, that kind of nonsense thought, I would probably be now most attracted to and most interested in Sailor Jupiter for some reason. Anyway, this video is not about me potentially dating Sailor Scouts in my adolescence. This is about this is about how I did enjoy the show, and not just for like that they're women and I'm attracted to women or something like that. Because I was still at a sort of pseudo stage where you just wouldn't watch the show if it was deemed a girl's show, or rather you would watch it, you just wouldn't openly talk about it. But now I can, because I'm an adult and I'm mature and I'm not afraid of stupidity that I was maybe afraid of as a young age. It was a great show. I really enjoyed the ending of season 1. Listen, a lot of episodes were complete nonsense stuff. You just find a bad guy, Queen Beryl sends a crystal, gives somebody a power, okay, now Sailormoon Serena has to do her moon tiara, whatever, and destroys a bad guy. Now there's often cases where maybe her tiara doesn't work, and she gets saved by my boy, Tuxedo Mask. That's right, Tuxedo Mask was one of the coolest characters for me because I got really influenced and I have a real good connection to this kind of dark hero characters that come about in especially female heroines' stories. It's a serious trope and it happens often. And maybe a lot of people don't really reflect on how Tuxedo Mask was probably one of the first of these characters. But they come again, even in Western media, even in a number of places. I mean, look at Buffy. What Angel was for Buffy, you know, he was this dark vampire, but he was also powerful. Despite the fact that Serena and Buffy are both powerful heroines, still there was another powerful character, this man who's kind of mysterious, you don't really know who he is, and he, in the last moment, sometimes saves you with his power and then disappears. This kind of character type of thing is a kind of thing that is a trope, and it's really interesting to me, and I definitely have a connection to that sort of character myself. It even happens now when Sabrina Netflix is one of the most recent ones that I saw, where she's got this one guy as opposed to Harvey too, who also is a warlock and therefore has magic and has therefore the ability to somehow magically save her. It's like the prince saving the heroine, but the prince is not really a good guy, he's kind of a bad guy, so he's got like a dangerous element or a naughty element to him. And this character is even so in this film, an older film where the main heroine is this older woman who's potentially seeing partners, and she's got the choices between a good guy and this kind of other guy who wears actually darker clothes and is kind of naughtier. I can't remember what the name of the movie was, or even I don't even have the ability to name the actors, but they're very famous actors too. I'm gonna kick myself later on because I can't remember it, but I'll point it out on screen somewhere. She also had an option too, and she ended up going with the dark one. And this might be going on in Twilight also, with Edward being kind of this dark kind of hero, male hero, who has the ability to save the male heroine in the last moments, even in cases where the female heroine is also super powerful herself. It's not like she's a dependent princess, incapable or anything like that. I mean, Buffy's the Slayer. She's the freaking Slayer. She's the freaking chosen one, okay? Angel, yeah, he's a vampire with a soul, but you don't mess around with Buffy. Anyway, I'm not trying to talk about Buffy. I'm trying to talk about Sailor Moon. Tuxedo Mask was a great character for that, and I really like Tuxedo Mask. And this is important because Season 1 ended with one of the great battles. One really hype moment that happened in Sailor Moon for me is the ending of Season 1 when they all come together and fight actually Queen Beryl, which you kind of get teased with in that first opener. And that fighting Queen Beryl and finally taking off and destroying Queen Beryl, that was freaking awesome. It was so enjoyable. It was as enjoyable for me as seeing Goku do his Kamehameha against Vegeta when Vegeta first comes down and is fighting Goku, and Goku's like, I need more power, and does his Kaioken and then blasts back, and you're just like, wow, you finally got this crazy power to take on this really crazy, horrible enemy, which was Vegeta at the time, And in this case, it was when all the sailors came together to fight off Queen Beryl. The animation was dope, the fighting was dope. It was like an amazing ending for a series that was kind of nonsense for the most part. And it was kind of really impactful. This was a great show. And there was that reveal too. What was the reveal? That this moon princess who had been sort of communicating to Serena was actually herself sort of previously incarnation version of her. Like this whole idea of she's communicating to her future self or a future reincarnation of her. And it was really great. It was some really great concepts. And she kind of found out, she learned that I'm the moon princess. I've been communicating to myself. I got the power. This is my stuff. Yes, I'm taking on Queen Beryl. It was a real good, feel good, empowering thing too. But then after that, the aftermath was horrible. It felt terrible, and I hate it when it happens in anything, but I really hated it when it happened in Sailor Moon, which is she lost all her memories. She didn't remember what she found out, what we know now, that she's the Moon Princess. She's just like, oh, I'm just back to being a girl. I don't have all my powers, and I'm back to being an airhead ditzy girl, which I found super annoying in the beginning now. So she went from going to this masterful place, being super empowered, and knowing who she is, to getting sudden amnesia, not knowing who she is, going back to just being a random ditzy girl that I find annoying. And I don't even get Tuxedo Mask. He's done gone. He's gone. Yeah, I know they introduced some new characters. You had Sailor Minimoon, who is the daughter of the Moon Princess, and therefore in a way a daughter of Serena, but you know, Serena doesn't know, and neither does Sailor Minimoon. And just, I found Sailor Minimoon super annoying as well, and not in small part because I actually didn't like Sugar's voice acting in it. I mean, I get it, it suited perfectly, it's just me, and her voice was way too screechy for me. Anyway, they did have the Midnight Rider, or whatever his name was. I don't even want to remember because I stopped watching this show after that. I felt so betrayed, and how hyped I finally got to feel about Sailor Moon, and about how this season ending was so epic. Finally you beat Queen Beryl, like this wasn't going to be an everlasting thing. Finally we got answers. Finally we got to see and know about who Serena really is, and it was just all taken away from me. And you try to make up for it with Sailor Minimoon, it's not going to happen. And you can't just give me the Midnight Rider and tell me, oh, don't worry man, Tuxedo Mask will come back later. That is Tuxedo Mask and he'll come back later. No. You took him away from me, I'm pissed off. You took her powers away from her, I'm pissed off. And now she doesn't even know that that's her own daughter beside her. Like, you want me to follow this? It's not happening, okay? I was hyped when you beat Queen Beryl. You took it all away, you took away memories, you took it all away. I'm not going through this journey again to recapture all the powers that you ought to have at the end that you did have, I mean, at the end of season 1. I hate that sort of thing. I don't know, I felt super betrayed. I couldn't watch Sailor Moon after that. But I gotta let you know, Sailor Moon's ending with that Queen Beryl, that is some pretty cool feelings to it. It was nice. What did you think? Did you watch Sailor Moon? And tell me if you're a guy and you watched Sailor Moon too, and you were open about it, if you were able to talk to other guys about Sailor Moon in a way that didn't have to do with, you know, thinking about how hot Mars was. You know, in other ways too, like just about how if it's a good anime or if it felt like really empowering to see how powerful they got at the ending. I didn't really have girls to talk about this when I was younger. I mean, I do have some girls to talk about this now that I am older, but some of them also followed Sailor Moon way past Queen Beryl where I couldn't. So if it was a tipping point for you two, if you did watch this tipping point for you two, let me know in the comments below. I mean, I don't know how many people of my audience right now are old enough or took interest enough in Sailor Moon to know what I'm even talking about. Anyway, I'm like, I got opinions. This is my show. I'm running a YouTube channel. I got opinions about Sailor Moon. This is where I could not go back to Sailor Moon. The moment when I dropped Sailor Moon. Hey, I heard you're looking to make some new friends. I'll be a friend. I'll be your best friend. All you have to do is subscribe. Everyone wants peace and victory.